Okay, so I have a few things I wanted to talk about. I've been up since 1:30. I don't know if it's something with the energy or what the hell is going on. It's so weird. Like I hear a really loud high frequency in my head, but it didn't seem to be what woke me up, but it seemed like there was a lot of chatter or something. It was waking me up like this high energy, and I could not go back to sleep. And then I started getting so starving, which again makes me think something is going on with time and stuff. I don't know. There's weird stuff going on. So I got up and I kept trying to go back to bed, but I couldn't go back to bed. I couldn't go back to sleep. So I was just like, fuck it, just stayed up. And but I feel tired. Like my eyes, of course, my eyes, they're killing me. And I feel like I want to go back to sleep, but it was like some other part of me was like, no, you're not sleeping anymore. So I don't know. And I'm working on my project, and I was so worried. I thought it was going to take me days and days. And I was like, oh my God, I've only got this small window before it's going to start raining again. But I'm almost done. It's so crazy. I thought it was going to take me so much longer. Things go so much different when you just start doing it, you know? You just get your idea of what you're going to do and start doing it. Don't do so much build up in your head. Sometimes you can talk yourself out of it. But anyways, I can't believe how fast it's almost done. I'm just going to put a second coat on this morning and then let it dry. And then I'll be able to put the cushions on it. I'll be able to sit on it tomorrow. So anyways, I don't even know if I've talked about it on here, but I'm redoing that furniture. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it, but I've been redoing the furniture in between the storms. So anyways, there was some other stuff I want to talk about. One thing that is weird, I went in and I was making a cup of tea, and I was putting the honey in my cup, and I turned, and all of a sudden it was like I glitched. It was the weirdest thing. It was like flipping between two pages or something. And I saw this weird flash of light. It was like horizontal or something. It was like this blue weird flash of light that happened. But I also felt it. Like I still feel it. I don't know how to explain it. But there was, I don't know. I almost felt like if you think of if they were flipping things back, like I just felt it flip back or something. I don't know how to explain it. It was weird. I've never felt anything like that before. And then it was like that whatever little bit was lost, and then I turned and kept doing it, but it was like a space in time. And especially like if you think about where that one Allison Coe, what I was just talking about, that lady under hypnosis, how she said that there's builders holding on to this reality as we are creating it, and they're having a hard time keeping up, and it's all going to collapse, and we are going to be the ones who have to rebuild it. That's why our vision is so important, to visualize what we want for the future. And there's going to be a whole bunch of different futures, but you know, it's important for us to be focusing on that right now. And I feel it in my heart. Not only did I hear her say it, but everything, sometimes you hear somebody say something and everything just clicks in, and you just know, you just are like, yes. And it has given me such a, and I like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Remember when in Ghostbusters, even their worst fear was created, and then you know, they were getting attacked by the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So that is what they are constantly showing us, that we are creating, our consciousness is creating the reality that we expect, that we think we deserve, or because you can switch. You can be in a reality where you are undeserving, you can heal, and you switch yourself into another timeline. Are the timelines together? Are they always on the same path? I don't know. You know, how can anybody tell you for sure? But you are on one, and then you are on another one. And if they meet in your learning, and that is where you bind them together, you know, there's something to it, but you definitely are on a different timeline. There's a timeline of lack and there's a timeline of abundance, you know. It's what you choose, what your experience is about. It's what you are led to follow. And anyways, you know, that's the whole thing. That wasn't even what I was going to be talking about. One of the things I was going to talk about was, you know, this morning, I noticed it all the time. I don't know if I say it very much or all the time, but one side of my hair is turning silver faster than the other side. And so when I was just at my mom's, I said something to her. I was putting my hair up or something, and I said, it's weird because one side of my hair is like way more silver than the other side. And she said that her hair did that and her mom's hair did that. And my point about that is we just don't even realize how much we really are a part of we're a part of our mom. We're a part of our grandma. And, you know, I think a lot of people that they are, you know, like you have this weird thing that happens, and I'm sure everybody's had it. Younger girls have it, where all of a sudden they feel like they're their mom. They feel like they sound like their mom. You know, they feel like they are looking at things like their mom. And then that continues through your whole life. And you start like finding yourself sweeping the table with your hand like your mom, or clearing your throat like your mom, and weird stuff like that. And the thing is if you have resentful feelings or anger or something, unresolved issues with your mom, look at how you can turn that in on yourself and start to hate parts of yourself. So that's another reason why it's super important to heal those things, heal the relationships with those people, because you are a part of these people. You have a lineage, you have an ancestry, and if you're resentful of it, you will resent parts of yourself. So anyways, it's important. I just wanted to throw that one out there. But this thing, I don't know if this is what was keeping me up because I can't get it off of my mind, but I have to talk about this. And there's another thing about it that there's a couple things. One of the things I don't really want to just say because it's kind of like speaking about somebody's disorder, because that's the only thing I could classify this as, is some sort of a nervous disorder or something. And even when the person was doing it, and it was so obvious, and I was seeing it, and probably everybody around who was looking at this person sees them doing this, but the person who's doing it, I think, has no awareness that they're doing it. So it was just that kind of weirding me out really, really hard. It was weirding me out, man. And another thing too about this is, I think this happens as you kind of develop more leaning towards the spiritual side of yourself. And when you start dealing with people, you start seeing your face. It's weird. I cannot believe how often that I'm talking to somebody and even if I wanted to sit there and go like, you know, irritated by them or something, if I'm looking at them, I start seeing my own face. And I know we're all connected. I know we're all like of the same place. You know, we all come from the same source. So we are all the same, no matter what we think or we create as the walls or division that we believe that are there. So it's trippy because the more I go into this, the more I'll see somebody and they can be doing something, and all of a sudden it's like their face turns into my face. Not completely, but there's something. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but I think, you know, people are going to start noticing that for themselves. It's like you have to realize like it is kind of turning anger onto yourself by putting it out there. You know, there's a lot to it. And I just know this is all part of the process of us getting to this deeper understanding. But this thing is where, you know, So I want to say this, and I definitely don't mean it as judgmental. Just like I said, I can look at this person and I can see that they have some serious issues and stuff, and their soul's going through a lot. And I don't know their soul path. I don't know their soul destiny. I don't know what they're supposed to go through for their awakening or what they're here to heal. So I have no room to judge what they're going through or how they're looking at things or any of that stuff. So I'm definitely not trying to judge them, but I do believe that things happen in my orbit. My reality is part of what they want me to talk about. Like I've known that for a long time. I said that a while back when my daughter was here. I was like, I know some of these things are happening because I'm supposed to talk about them even with my neighbor. And it was like, I know these things I'm supposed to be talking about, but it feels awkward, like I'm trying to throw somebody under the bus, and I'm not. It's kind of more of an observation. Like, we just need to look at these things as observations of human character. Because just because somebody's demonstrating a certain characteristic doesn't mean they're going to be stuck there. And however long they are stuck there, that's their own issues that they're trying to get over that holds them back. So, every soul has a process of understanding, but then also you don't know if that soul already understands, but they're teaching someone else by playing it out. It's hard to say. That's another reason why we shouldn't judge. So I'm just talking about this as an observation, as something that we need to consider. And it is something that I talked about months and months ago, when they were telling us, this food fear has been going on for a while now, and they've been dangling that carrot and letting us know that they're about to pull the rug out from under us. But a lot of people weren't paying attention. And, when it gets worse and worse and worse, then people, when they suddenly see, then all of a sudden they're in a panic. Just like I did a TikTok last night before I went to bed. And it was, for everybody who is all of a sudden realizing they're being poisoned, don't panic and make yourself sick. You've got to be logical and use your common sense. Like, I've been poisoned my whole life. This is why I feel like shit all the time. And this is why I need to focus on taking care of myself. But, the poison's already in there. We've been fighting it. So there's no reason to all of a sudden panic like, oh my God, I'm being poisoned. It's like, no, this is time to wake up and be like, oh, I'm being poisoned. Jesus Christ, no wonder I feel like shit. I got a freaking, an apple a day. It's supposed to be some major thing, don't forget. So, anyways, the thing that was so bothering me, so the food shortage, because I said, with these doomsdayers who have like a basement, a bug out shelter full of food or whatever all the prep people have done. And even with those prep food things, it's like meals. You don't need a fucking meal to survive. It is how they've got that implanted in people's minds. Jesus Christ, you could survive off a cup of beans. Eat some crackers or a piece of bread with it to fill your stomach. That is what they use so much with flour and water during the Depression. You just need to fill your stomach. Your body will survive. We can freaking eat dandelions. We can eat weeds. We can eat leaves. There is nature all around us. We're not going to literally starve. Animals are out there doing it. We have animal DNA in us. We can freaking do it. So, there's so much just misdirection and panic. And there's so much of this hierarchy kind of world. Like, I'm going to prepare for myself and I'm going to, close myself into my little container and watch you on the outside whittle away and starve to death. And what kind of world am I going to be? What kind of world would there be left? These are the kind of people that we would want to start a new world. People that watched their friends, their family starve to death outside because they didn't prepare enough. And, that was one thing during the Depression too, where people became closer. We're in this together. Uh, the that little slogan that was going around, I don't even think you're allowed to say it, but had some W's, and how we all go the same direction when one of us goes. That little saying, that was the mentality, and we should be building on that mentality. We also had the slogan, what would Jesus do? You want to worship him? What would he do? Would he watch people starve out the window? So, had been talking about that. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And, these food things where it's like a whole freaking meal. It's changing our way we think. It's changing our attitude. It's changing our priorities. That's why this stuff is happening. And people act like, well, the whole world's going to fall apart because there's not going to be Applebee's, or, we can't go to Fridays for a happy hour or something. It's like, we don't need that kind of stuff. And if we do, if communities want that, they'll build it. And if a community builds it and everybody enjoys it and people come from all around to go there, there will be more and more and more. I mean, we will develop what it is we want. Who wants to be the one who is working to serve? How many of these restaurants, last night I went with this person that I'm going to finish the story. And I went out for apps and a beer, and it was so fun. And I got this it's a brewery, a pizza brewery. So it's real beer. And I got this, I think it was a whiskey or scotch aged beer. Anyways, it was really, really good. It was really rich tasting, served in this fancy glass, It was so good, and I enjoyed it so much, and had, some really, every time I've gone out to eat now, even if I've ordered something that I used to like, it tastes like shit. So I don't know. I'm not really into that. And we just had some apps, just a couple dips, but stuff is just tasting weird. I don't know if the products are changing. I don't know what's going on there. But you think about, restaurants are going to buy from places that have big amounts, and then those big amounts are coming from, to me, it just seems like a lot more control over the food that goes out to restaurants. So, it's just me, but I think it is, it's just another opportunity for them to get more garbage in us. So, but I wanted to go out and really enjoy it. And it was crazy too. It was packed. It was so packed. It was like a long wait the whole time we were there. And we sat in the bar. We didn't even sit in the restaurant part. We just sat up at the bar, and it was just packed the whole time. And everybody just seemed to be having fun, and it was a lot of talking, how it used to be. You just see people sitting there looking at their phones. I didn't see that. I saw people talking to each other and socializing and having a good time. And it was fun to enjoy something like that. And to me, a lot of those things that we need to really enjoy that moment, because we should, if anything, see these moments are going to stop. This isn't a forever kind of thing. It's not like my great grandkids are going to ever know anything about going to Friday's happy hour. It's going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be something that we talk about to the other people, like what life used to be like. It's not going to be like that in the future. We're living a giant historical moment. And so, just like I had a convergence of several thoughts that went in at the same time. But so I'll go back to my story, because I kind of got lost on the other thing. But so when we went there, and it was like all these people in there, and it was a good energy, and everybody was having fun, and I was enjoying my beer. which, a lot of spiritual people, they're like, oh, you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't eat, you can't do that. A lot of can'ts. There's a lot of can'ts, and I'm just not about that. I'm about balance, like going out and having, when's the last time I had a beer? Like last summer? It's almost summer again. It's not like, which I'm not saying you could only have a beer once a year. I'm just saying that there's certain things that, yeah, there's a problem if you're doing it all the time or you're relying on it, you're using it as a coping skill, then you aren't using it properly. You have to find balance. If you're doing everything right in your life, it's not like well, I'm not even going to judge somebody if they want to go spend a night getting drunk and stuff on shots, but I saw a whole thing about spirits and that is what they use to go into people. And there is something to that. There is something to when people are drunk, that it's like opening their vessel to other beings. There's something about it. So I don't know. I'm not somebody who would say go out and get drunk. I think that's not a good idea, but I'm not going to judge somebody or shame somebody if that's what they need to do in their life. They've got to learn that stuff for themselves. And I have definitely found that I understand a lot of things that a lot of people are still learning, and I just got to accept that. I can't go around telling everybody and being frustrated because they won't listen or understand what I'm saying, So, but I really feel like, we are here to experience and to enjoy this life. And it's kind of up to us right now to make that experience enjoyable and to enjoy the little things. And so I was just like, that just seems like such a fun, kind of old-fashioned thing to do. And not sit here and stress out like, oh, is there going to be a shooting or am I going to be poisoned? And it was fun because I was saying what I feel kind of loud. And one thing, she was saying that I'm the only person she knows that she can talk to about any of the stuff she thinks, because everybody up here has no clue. And that is, that's where I'm at. Like, people are just very three-dimensional, living by the rules. And one thing I've noticed, just watching The Neighbor over the last few days and thinking about the three-dimensional life and just accept, like, I don't try and tell her anything, It's like, you just go about your business and living your life. And I can see how it would just get more and more empty because it's so mundane. But the thing I really noticed was, families don't spend any time together. They go off to school and work. And they just separate. They have not very much time together. And then the time that they spend together, usually people are frustrated. It's really caused a lot of division and divorce, I would imagine. This system has destroyed a lot of relationships that were probably good relationships if they would have been able to, cultivate their love and their family rather than enslaved into a system. So anyways, I just, that's another observation to me, is just really seeing that from this perspective as an observer of like, wow, you just really, because living it, you're just caught up in the moment. You're caught up in what you're doing. Even though we're at this time of a shift where it's going to become more obvious that this is a dead end, I'm on a hamster trail, whatever that thing is called, the little spinny thing, the hamster wheel. A lot of people are going to become more clear that they're just on a hamster wheel. They're going nowhere. And they're just dedicating all their energy to someone else getting rich. So that's going to be a part of the awakening for some people, are going to start seeing that. And, but there is a lot of people who are still just playing a part of the system, not even questioning a damn thing. Well, they could be questioning things, but they're still very dedicated to the system. And so, but the conversation that I just keep sidestepping around is very awkward. It's super uncomfortable because, I'm not a doomsdayer. I'm an optimist. I'm a Pollyanna. I'm an Age of Aquarius. I'm a soul that knows why I'm here, and I know what I'm here to do. I'm in a mission of trying to give people vision, trying to help people wake up, trying to get people to use their common sense and to start trying to understand this world is further, way more complex and way more fascinating and fantastical than what they could even imagine. So, I know what my reason is for being here, and it has nothing to do with doomsday. That's those souls' lessons, whatever their lessons are. But when I start talking to those people, especially when somebody is a doomsdayer and they feel so fortunate to have me to talk to, but there's nothing I can say that gets them to listen to me. They just think I'm not seeing the truth. I mean, they're even sending me videos last night, so I will make sure and understand how serious this is, because I certainly don't see it for myself. I do see it for myself. I just see it differently. I look at things very differently. I look at this as all a test to show us what we're made of. This is our opportunity to set our priorities right, to pay attention to what's going on and start figuring out, how do I succeed? How do I take care of myself? The system that I allowed to take over my life is breaking. The machine's breaking. It's like, are you going to start breathing on your own? Or are you going to just sit there and go down with the ship, And a lot of people are shorting out, spinning out, They don't know how to do it. And this system has been such a part of a lot of people's lives from the very beginning. I feel like some of us had a life outside of the system, that we experienced what freedom was like when were kids, and we got to just go out and be free. And so I think we understand what humanity is capable of and what we can. I mean, we were little kids and we go out and build fucking forts. We could go out and, create whatever we wanted, and we were children. We've grown up to become like, okay, I'll work my ass off and pay $750,000 for someone to build me a fucking matchstick home. It's like, no, we're more innovative than that. The system has beat us down and made us forget, but we're more innovative. We can take care of ourselves. We are capable. And those of us who know these and we had those experiences, we are here to help the other people, the other generations. And I know that's part of why they want us to have so much division in the generations, to create this animosity of like, oh, you have no value, you're older, shut up, you're a boomer, shut up, you got nothing to say. It's part of the whole system. And, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and I don't remember if I already said this to y'all, but so they're starting to take older people's homes, people who have been paying their homes their whole time, and they're trying to get lawyers and stuff, but they're trying to send them into nursing homes and take in their homes from them. See, that's what the medical system will do. They'll make your decisions, and then the system will take your house. Everything you worked for, your legacy, what you think you're leaving behind goes back to the government. And so there's the older people fighting that. We're about to start fighting, what they'll hit us hard with. They've already started in California is with the fires. So they're going to start, and I'm definitely in that zone. But they want to do everything to take our homes away from us. And this is one thing that is super serious is I just saw a whistleblower for the FE, you got it, the camps, districts, and stuff like that, whistleblower, and she said that she found the paperwork. And so she's exposing it, and she saw the test, everything. So they've decided that the best way that they could, remember back in the days when people would do something wrong, and then they would have that big thing that would come down and slice them? Well, they've been developing some really good ones. Thank you. We want one that works quick. So they've been in high development. They've been, murdering mice by the millions, apparently, to practice, because they got to get it right, because that's the most humane way to, And right now they've got so much AI, they don't really need us. I mean, they can live high on their hog without us here, the eaters and breeders. They don't need us around. So they got two ways of doing it. One is by gas, which I think they're practicing on some of us currently. And so, just go over, gas an entire town, and they'll be gone. And then when you go into the camps, there's only so much food, and you've gotten sick being here, not eating and being jam-packed. We got a test. We'll test you. Oh, yep, you've got the new flu. So it's deadly. We've got to isolate you. And, the only way through this. So that's their plan. That's their intention. That's what they want to do, And what are we going to do is the thing is we got these people who are gravitating. You're losing everything. You're gravitating back to the city for resources. You don't run into the fire. You run the opposite direction. It's like, people, how do you get people to wake up? Like, they're shorting this, they're creating this whole scenario. And I don't know how far the collective has to take it to wake up. I don't, I didn't think it was going to go this far. So I did not think that this would be how this was going to go down. Like, this is a very exciting movie. But it's a movie nonetheless. I mean, but still, that's their intention. And if that's what you want, then run towards the cities. Go for them for resources. Or wise up and think about being free and sovereign and go the other direction. And remember how to build a goddamn fort. Take your tent. Any money you have, go buy a goddamn camper or a bus. Anything. Remember, even back during the Depression, people rode the rail. God, that's a hard one to say, especially when you're tired. Railway, People were a lot more nomadic or people need to start caravanning and move out, start building communities. And the communities may start as rough, some tents gathered up and, a couple guys going out and shooting a deer or whatever, however they got to survive. You go out and start building gardens and stuff. We have laws that protect us when we go out and live off the land. So, they can't kick you off of land you're working to survive. If they're going to try and take you to court, they can't take it away from you. And so, those are just things that we don't realize. We think, we got to be kept in this certain way. We allow it because we think that that's the only way it can be. But you got to see through the illusion. And so, anyways, back to the story so we're sitting in there and somehow we were talking about all of this stuff, but I was saying, or she said she was going to start doing a garden now. But so she is in a deep, deep panic because they're going into farms and they're just saying, oh, your animals have this disease, and slaughtering all these people's animals. And they're doing all this stuff. So she's, like trying to keep it on the down low. She doesn't want anyone to even know she has animals. So people are calling her for eggs and she's saying that, no, she doesn't have any more. Which another thing too, what they're doing to control this stuff with people and the chickens and the eggs, because they're trying to make it illegal for us to get eggs from other people, but they're making the price of grain so high that people can't afford to have a bunch of chickens. They're only able to get their own eggs. So that just shows us again, we need to all have our own chickens. We need to all have our own source that we go to for our food. Even this one, my lawyer, when she said that she was in Peru, where everywhere I think it was Peru. I'm positive it was Peru. But she said, in a farm up the side of a mountain, she said it's really spectacular. But she said when you go into someone's house, and all the houses are much different than how we live. I mean, they don't need all this bullshit that we think we need. But in the kitchen, which is very different kind of kitchen, like we need luxury kitchens in the U.S. Like we don't know how to cook unless it's luxury. And so there's like a little corral, and it's all full of, not gerbils, the bigger ones. What are those things called? I can't think of what they're called. We think they're pets. We think they're cute as hell. And I don't think anybody here would ever think about eating them, but that's their regular food. And they keep them in there. They breed nonstop, and you just pull one out and bonk it and cook it. That's how they live, off of, not chipmunks. They're bigger than that. They're like, got too many words coming in my head. I can't hear them all. Anyways, but back to the story. So, we're talking about the food thing, and she was like telling me she was really worried. She don't want anybody to know. And I said, well, I'll come over. If you're going to be growing some food, I'll come over. I'll work with you. I'll co-op with you, and I'll come help so I can have some of the food. And she said, well, she don't want anybody to know she's got any food. And then she started talking, and this is another thing to me that is very significant. This is somebody who thinks of themselves as a Christian. This is the hypocrisy behind some of this. Like, you can call yourself a Christian, but do you think about your views, how you look at things? You can't just call it. This is how religion has failed people, because they think, oh, I call myself a Christian, I believe in God, so I'm a Christian. But a Christian, or a true Christian, is somebody who's trying to be Christ-like, right? So that whole thing, what would Jesus do? It's like living by that lifestyle. He's your role model, not Kim Kardashian or whatever the fuck. So you are trying to think like him, go at life and other people like him, which is very hard when they've taken out some of what he said. So, but anyways, if you're going by these people who think of themselves as Christian, but then they are not doing or living by that philosophy, they're just calling themselves a word, a label, because there's an actual way of being. That's why I said, if you're really following a spiritual path, there is no just claiming the title, which people are doing it right now. They're claiming it. They think they're walking a path, but it's far more in depth than what they are understanding, because it is walking that path towards Christ consciousness. It's a complete different way of being than in this. Even when she was explaining to me, so she at some point in this conversation said that she wanted to form an alliance with me, but I had to be willing to not tell anyone I have food. Even if a family with children were coming up and asking me for food, I'd have to say, no, there is no food. And I said, well, I mean, I wouldn't tell them anything about your food, but I've got food. I've got beans and stuff. I would feed somebody beans. No, that's not what goes down in an alliance. You are not allowed to do that. God. And you're not allowed to feed the outsiders in an alliance. Well, I'm not somebody who's gonna sit and watch people starve. That's not what I would do. I don't understand this. And then she even said, this is a dog-eat-dog world. And it is an attitude, if you didn't prepare, Stella, I'm talking. If you didn't prepare yourself, that's not my problem. That is not how the attitude. I have a very different attitude. This is another thing, too, that weirds me out. Stella! Stop! Another thing that weirds me out is how do people not see me? How do you not understand me? Even when I'm sitting there saying, okay, you want to be a doomsdayer, I'm a Pollyanna, you want to convince me that you're right and I'm just not seeing it. But why? I don't know. There's a whole thing. And why do you not see me? Like what I'm saying? Why don't you hear what I'm saying? Because I'm saying something very, very different than what you're saying. But it's like people overlook you. I think it's important that we do start seeing ourselves in people, because people just overlook you. And I find it curious through this awakening when I started noticing, like, why do you want to spend time with me when you don't have anything in common with me? Why do you want to be around me when you don't agree with me? Like, that kind of stuff weirds me out now. But I think it's part of what people don't see, because they're not living in an aware kind of existence. They're living off of impulse and interaction and response systems. They're not living in the higher chakras, which is a consciousness, an awareness. It's a thinking, noticing what you're doing and why you do it, and being aware of your own reactions and actions, But, everybody has their own part of the awakening. It's so trippy, because you hear when you talk to people, when you talk to all sorts of people, don't limit who you talk to. I think a lot of people just put limitations on who they think has value in information, so then they don't listen. But, because there'd be spiritual people who go, well, I'm not talking to a Christian. They worship, they worship an entity that is of their own making, but it's like there's a lot of not thinking things through. Religion is just kind of used against people. So it's just so weird when you hear somebody, who says, I read the Bible all day, every day. I will watch you starve. You should have been smarter. It's like, I don't know. Maybe that is in alignment with other people's views. Maybe I am just an oddball. I know I am just an oddball. And last night, it was hard to sleep through. I can't get it out of my head. And, people are showing me who they are. That's for sure. Definitely, I see. And to me, it's the same question as I ask about them. Like, why are we spending time with people that we're not in alignment with? And I think that it keeps being more and more clear. And the thing is it gets me more and more isolated. There's less people to be around, because you start seeing that you're not in alignment with so many people, because they have this strange perspective on things that I can only align with the fact that they are still stuck in this three-dimensional paradigm of rules and rule makers, and they're trying to, however it is, make sense of it. And some try and, there's people who want to just give this system CPR and chemo and beg us all to stay there. And it's like, no, the system's dead. We're just waiting now to see what's happened next. What's going to be next, Are we going to be hit by aliens? Are we going to have tanks driving down our streets? Are we going to just be gassed one night while we're sleeping? Like, who knows what's to come? Are they just going to burn down the rest of our houses? I just know no matter what they take from me, I'm not going and asking them for a damn handout. I will go live in my car with my dog. I'll go live out in the desert. The scorpions and rattlesnakes in the desert are safer than these freaking people. They create this dog world. They create this world that, they would purge one another, where people just see no value. If you're not like me, you have no value. If you are not me, you have no value. And, I can see a lot of these people aren't like me. I'm not saying they don't have any value. I'm saying that they have a lot to learn. But I don't want to be around people that I don't deem as safe. Like, is it going to become a dog eat dog, I'll eat you if I run out of food world? That's what it's kind of appearing to be. So anyways, there was a bunch of stuff that I was going to talk about. So I might be back because after I finish this, I might just be rushed. I even tried writing. Oh, I'll look at it real quick and see, because I wrote down a list. I was like, I got to get back more, trying to keep, let's see, I'm freaking blind as shit. So, the doomsday, food shortage, the soul lessons in alignment, that's what it's all about. And, something, I don't even know what the hell I meant by that one. Finding what you fear. We talked about that, because we are creating what we fear. Oh God, my people not need to develop self, because people need to develop themselves and get out. I think I did cover all of this stuff. So, oh, and Katrina was practice. That woman said when they did that, that was kind of like, okay, this is how we'll do it. And we saw how many people, they just left them on roofs. They didn't give a shit. They were letting them die. And they were purposely letting him die. Then who knows how much bad shit went on once they got him into the Astrodome or whatever it was that they corralled him in. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we wouldn't have been hearing about, They know how to do that. They know how to isolate. There's this girl I saw today on a TikTok, and she has something called CERS, CERS, where she is super, super sensitive to toxins and poisons, and it makes her super, super sick. And she has this really big problem with mold. And anyway, she was talking about, you can look up this sickness, but she was talking to her doctors and blah, blah, blah. But she said that now, over the past year, since there's so much of this, that every single one of these people who have those, when she's next to them, she can just be at the park and there be some, and she will get super, super sick from these people. They're emitting poisons and toxins really heavily right now, which, I'm sure we all are, but that those people especially, they're processing, their bodies have got a lot of shit in there that they're processing. And she was saying that she can smell it in their breath even. She can smell these, the protein that has the points all over it. So she can smell that. And she said it's really, really bad. I mean, people are so sick and they don't even realize it. But see, then if you tell them, there has to be this slow drip. I mean, there's going to be people who are going to freak out. There's going to be a lot of panic. I wish, that people could just understand how easy we could shift out of this as a conscious collective, that we could change everything happening by us all coming together in agreement that we want to shift out of it. We don't want to have that be a part of our existence, but people have to keep picking at it's like the carcass after Thanksgiving, and people just can't stop. They're completely full. Their pants are undone. They're going to keep on picking that carcass. But the thing is even after they're done picking it, then they got to go through the sadness, the regret, the pain. So even when we get through this, which is really, a rough time, we still got to go through them all, in a neurotic state of, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe I did that. There's going to be so much. I can't believe. How did I not see it? What's wrong with me? That's going to be hard for a lot of people. Really hard. Especially consider how far things have gotten, how dark things have gotten. And there's still people oblivious. When they pull their awareness into the current situation and realize what they've been oblivious to, and don't forget, these are people who are just, on high ego, steroid, testosterone, they're like way overboard on the ego and the arrogance. So that's gonna, get slammed right into a wall. And however big and huge it is, it's going to fall and it's going to hurt when it does. And so we still got to go through all of that part where the people who called you crazy and told you that you didn't know what the hell you were talking about and made you feel bad, until you started being like, hey, I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm seeing things correctly, and those people are going to be there needing your shoulder. We're the ones who have to turn the other cheek and not sit there, well, you should have listened to me. Well, you should have got more food. You should have been better prepared, So this is all to show us who we are at our core. Don't forget that. Everything that is happening is to show you who you are. So, we're all making choices. So when you think about the food stuff, there's a lot of food stuff on everyone's mind, just consider all of the different perspectives. Really think about where you're coming from and how you see the future and what your expectation is and what you need for yourself to survive. You certainly don't need a big meal. You don't need a 3-course dinner to survive. So, but there's a lot of lessons that have to be learned. And, and I think that when we stay positive and we keep that energy for ourselves, I think even if, a fire were to blaze through my neighborhood, it could skip right over my house. Like, you don't know how strong you're emitting your frequency out, but then you also don't know what you are here to experience and go through. So if something goes in a different direction than you were hoping for, don't get disappointed. Just look at it as, oh, I was supposed to learn this. Oh, this was supposed to happen. I'm supposed to know about this. I'm supposed to learn about this. Start approaching it like that. Don't get upset. Just look at it as like, oh, what am I supposed to see here? What am I supposed to learn here? So anyways, I will go, but I might come back later because, it's still really early. So hopefully this one will download quick. You just never know. So I will talk to you later. Bye.